Hey everyone, Travis here with eXp Realty, the modern realtor, and I want to jump on and quickly talk about, well, not quickly because this is actually going to be a bit more of a lengthy video, but if you're a real estate agent looking to up your video, up your content on a daily basis, you're kind of sick of just using the cell phone and you don't want to hire a person every single time you want to film some content, this video is for you because we're going to be diving in the top cameras to buy in early 2023 if you're a realtor. Now guys, this video is specifically just my suggestions. Obviously this isn't the end all be all, but these are just cameras that I think could be beneficial for someone starting off in photography or videography. I think these cameras could help you up your game and make your videos and pictures look much better. So first of all, let's first talk about the two types of cameras that we're going to be seeing in this video. First of all, there's going to be mirrorless cameras, and obviously these are becoming more and more popular and offer a lot more balance between size and weight and image quality. They're a little bit more expensive compared to your classic point and shoot or DSLR cameras because new technology means new price tag, but in exchange you're getting higher quality images and resolution sizes are going to be a lot better. Next, you're going to see your classic DSLR cameras. These have been the most professional style cameras for the last decade or so, as a lot of photographers who you probably hire have been using these types of cameras. They're a little bit larger and kind of bulky, but at the end of the day, they generate high image quality and you can use a different variety of lenses when using them. Now let's get into the first camera that we're looking at, and that's going to be the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now I know that this isn't what you were expecting when I said buying a new camera, but let's be real, I don't know how Apple does not have its own camera yet, because the image that you can get out of an iPhone 14 Pro Max is stellar, costing you around $1,500 on the lower end of the storage spectrum to about $2,400 for the largest storage. This device is absolutely amazing. Some of the pros of this device is that the image quality is amazing, and with 3 different cameras you can get a wide variety of wide shots to macro shots, all from one device. Also, the low light capabilities are amazing as they have increased the size of the sensor. Stabilization is off the charts, and if you pair this with a gimbal, you're gonna get a real professional looking image and video. On top of that, it has a ton of different shooting modes, as you can get portrait mode and sport mode. And finally, it's very easy to share images once you have them. You can practically airdrop it anywhere you want, so that's another very big pro. Now, some of the cons of the iPhone 14 Pro Max: if you are getting the 14 Pro Max, it's a little bit bigger of a phone, so that carry along option is gonna definitely be different if you were to get one of the lesser models. Next, there's not that much manual control. Most of the time you're gonna pull the phone out, press record, and that's it. You can't really customize the ISO or anything like that, so it's more point and shoot and just ready to go. Another negative is that there's no headphone jack, so you're not gonna be able to monitor audio levels. And as I said, there are 3 cameras, so you can zoom, but there's not as much zoom as if you were to try and get a dedicated lens for macro photography. And obviously, finally, it's an iPhone 14 Pro Max, so you're paying for the Apple logo, and that's gonna cost a lot more compared to another iPhone or even another smartphone in its category. But regardless, it's a great option for everyday use. If you wanna up your video, this is a great option, and I mean, it's gonna be used a lot, so you might as well get some other capabilities out of it. Now, getting into our first real mirrorless camera, we're looking at the Canon EOS RP. Now, I film all of my videos on Canon products. I have 2 EOS Rs, 1 EOS R5, and I just ordered a Fujifilm X100V, so I'm very excited for that. But most of my video is all done on Canon mirrorless cameras. So if you were to buy the EOS RP, which is a great starter camera, you're looking at about $1,500 to $1,600, and that's gonna come with a kit lens, which is 24 to 105 millimeter. Now, when you're shooting real estate photography or videos, you wanna make sure that you have as wide of an angle as possible. So personally, I would probably just go with the body, which is gonna cost you about $1,300, and then I would invest in a good lens, which is gonna capture sharp image. So the L series 16 to 35, which is what I'm shooting on right now, they're expensive. That lens can cost anywhere from $2,900 or so, but there are cheaper versions that cost around $1,700, and then a very cheap version around $800. But obviously, the lens, I'm always going to say this, the lens is more important than the body, so I would invest in some good glass if you want nice, sharp images. So here are some pros and cons of the EOS RP. It's affordable. Now, I know it doesn't seem like it's affordable, but if you're trying to really up your image, this is going to be as good as it gets when you're diving into the full frame mirrorless devices. Its lightweight and compact design makes it easy to carry around for everyday use. You get great image quality with a 26.2 megapixel full frame sensor. It has amazing autofocus, and if you don't want to buy the expensive RF lenses, you can still purchase an adapter and use any of the EF lenses that are made by Canon. Now, some of the cons of the EOS RP is that it's a relatively basic camera compared to some of the other full frame mirrorless cameras in the lineup. There's also no in-body stabilization, so if you are going to be shooting real estate video, you might want to invest in a gimbal as well so you can get that nice, smooth, cinematic look. There's limited buffer capacity, and then since it was one of the first of the mirrorless cameras in the Canon lineup, the battery life isn't the best. And finally, there's no touch screen with the camera, so doing those manual focuses with the touch, point on the screen, you won't be able to do that with this camera. But all in all, it's a solid camera if you're looking to get into a full frame game. I owned it for a few weeks, and then I ended up eventually upgrading to the EOS R, but I mean, when I had it, it was a great camera. I really couldn't tell the difference. Next up is the Sony ZV-1. This is a compact, very portable design, and honestly, it's probably one of the best cameras there are for vlog style video. But if you are trying to use it for real estate photography and videography, you could also use it as well. It costs around $1,000, and I mean, for that price point and what you get for the camera, it's pretty remarkable. Some of the pros that has excellent photo capabilities with a 20.1 megapixel sensor. It has fast autofocus. It has a built-in 3-capsule microphone for improved audio recording, and it has tons of different options from shooting time lapses to slow motion and other great modes. Some of the cons of this camera though are that it has limited lens selection. So the option that I suggested here has a built-in wide angle lens, which is great for real estate, and it's also great for that vlog because if you're holding it right here, you want it wide enough so that you can capture multiple things. So it's great for that, but if you are trying to do other types of photography or videography, you want to capture some details with zoom-ins, it might struggle a little bit with that. Next, there's no in-body stabilization, which I mean, you can imagine for such a small camera. Next, which it's not that important, but you would love to see it in a camera in today's day and age, there's no 4K capabilities. You're shooting in mainly 1080p or full HD resolution, which I mean, at the end of the day, if you're uploading to YouTube, uploading specifically for TikTok, Instagram Shorts, that's all you really need, but it is nice to have that 4K capability in a camera in today's age. And finally, I mean, you're gonna see this, it's gonna be pretty common with all of the cameras that we're looking at today, is that the battery life isn't the best. When you have such a small package, the battery isn't gonna be big enough to be able to like shoot for all day. So definitely wanna invest in multiple batteries. Next, we have a fan favorite, the Canon Rebel T7. This is a great option for someone who's on a budget. For about $530, you can get the camera with a kit lens, an 18 to 55 millimeter. This is the first camera I did any kind of real estate photography with. Since it is a crop sensor, the 18 is actually more like a 24 to 26 millimeter. So it's not the best for real estate photography, real estate videography, but you could definitely get by with it. Eventually you would want to invest in an EF wide angle 16 to 35, but for now, for starters, it's a great camera. Some of the pros of it is that it's definitely affordable. There's a great image quality. It's about 24.1 megapixel APS-C sensor. It's very easy to use. That's one of the things about Canon that I love, is that it's easy to open up right out of the box and get good image right away with their colors. It has amazing autofocus with a 9-point autofocus system, and you have a massive lineup of EF lenses that are all over. You can buy a ton of them used and get a great deal on it, but definitely a ton of options to get, macro shots, close-up shots, or even wide shots. So definitely a lot of stuff going for you. Some of the negatives is that obviously it's for beginners, so some of the extensive options that you would want if you were an experienced photographer, you're not going to get those. It's more for the starter photographer. There's no in-body stabilization, so it makes it kind of hard to get really sharp images if you're doing something for product photography. And then obviously it's a little bit of an older camera, so 4K is not standard in this, so you're going to be shooting mainly full HD opposed to 4K. And then just to say it again, poor battery life. All these cameras are going to have poor battery life. But overall, great camera for beginners. This will definitely get you in getting used to using a DSLR or any other kind of dedicated camera. The next camera that we're looking at is the Sony Alpha A6400. This is a great camera for beginners as it costs around $1,350 for the camera and a fixed 16 to 55 millimeter dedicated lens. One of the pros of this camera is that it has fast autofocus, which is great for capturing moving objects or moving subjects. It has an amazing 24.2 megapixel APS-C sensor. It's very tiny, so carrying it around, a lot of the times when I'm doing photography and listings, I don't want to bring a big camera in because it looks suspicious, so this can easily fit in your pocket. Pull it out, it's very conspicuous, so it's great for taking on showings, and if you want to capture a little video of a house, you can do so very easily. It has great video capability as well, as this one does record in 4K. Obviously, you're not going to use it all the time, but it's nice to have that option, and it does have a tilting LCD screen, so it makes it easier for capturing at weird angles. Love to see that with these cameras. Some of the cons of it though are, again, there's limited buffer capacity, so those sport photographies, those autofocus capabilities are not the best. There's no in-body stabilization, so this would work best with a gimbal as well for capturing that smooth cinematic video. Pretty basic in terms of capabilities or controls, so again, it's more based for the beginner photographer. And again, poor battery life. It's a small camera, batteries, you're gonna wanna have 2 to 3 batteries if you are shooting. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to hit the like button if you got any value from this. If you are starting out in photography as a real estate agent, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be making a lot more videos on tips and how to get great video as a realtor. It all takes practice, guys. It doesn't matter what you're using, it's all practice. But if you are trying to invest, definitely try out some of these cameras, and be sure to comment below if you've tried any of them out and have any positive things to say. So guys, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.